Wednesday, July, what is it, the 15th, I believe? 14th? 15th, yay. um, and this is our action party. So just to begin, we're definitely going to get into action here really quickly, but I have a couple of people that we're going to come on and just kind of share. So something that I learned from Monday night's call is something that Sonia Magruder said. She said, leadership is not a trait, it's an action. And this business is all about action and growing in our leadership through action. So I really wanted to highlight a couple people on our team this week that have been in action, and it's helping them step up their leadership in their business and really grow into a brand new business. So I would love to start with Stephanie here. She hit consultant in her first 12 days of the business, and she hit the UBT in her, that would be her second week of the business. And I asked her to jump on today and just share some of the things that motivated her to be in action and some of the languaging she used that allowed her to reach that amazing goal of consultant in 12 days and a UBT in her second week. So Stephanie, are you on?
Yes, I am. Hi, Mary Beth. Hi, everyone. I didn't do this by myself. Let me get that out of the chute right away. My upline was fantastic. I want you all to know that if you aren't calling and talking to them and texting on that beautiful text that they give you, if you have questions, I encourage you to do that because I had no idea what I was doing. I still really have no idea what I'm doing. Does anybody feel that way? You can say so. So let me tell you that I'm supposed to share language with you. I can only share my language. It took me 2 weeks to say glyphosate correctly, and my morning live call on Facebook, which I was challenged to do, I pluralized it. So those mistakes are going to happen when you're moving fast, and that's what this business is. It's fast and furious and fun, right? So here's what I know, and here's what I'll share with you that worked for me. I use a formula, and I'm going to share it with you. It's called Find, Grind, Bind, and Present. So when I was challenged by my upline friend, Marianne Eaton, who's on this call, to join into Purium, it began in December. She came back to me another time, maybe around February, and then came to March. I finally said yes. Why is this important? Because I signed on May 28th with a Core 4 product. It's important always to know why you got involved. Who are you? So I knew when I ordered the product that I didn't want to do the business. My objection was I didn't want to do a tier marketing or a Ponzi, as Mary Beth has told us in some of her videos. You have to come over those objections. And Marianne was good to just back up and let me go. So I want you to know that in building my upline, I needed to know what my objections were first, because I knew that person, when I called, would be coming to me. So I better understand that. So that's the fine part. I had to find me. And I picked the CEO, David Sandoval, to learn about. And I started researching. I looked at every video I could find. This was before I got on the Purium website. I just went to YouTube and started just researching. And I always was careful to pay attention to the date of anything that I found so that I was current with the information in case there were updates. I also had to find out who I was. A lot of the objections that come are, it's tier marketing, it's too expensive. I threw both of those at Marianne. It's going to take too much time. I want to pursue plant medicine. Now, isn't that funny? Because that's what this is. So what else did I have? I've already been there, done that. Maybe you guys have experienced that. So the language that I used when I was calling my people, and first, well, let me finish the structure. After I found myself and my objections, and then I learned about David and some of the products and glyphosate and things that affected me, I also had to know what was the motivation for me. Mine is health. I had a gut problem. However, COVID offered us a whole new opportunity because it's a business opportunity, right? I sat home for 3 months in New York wondering, I got to do something. I have to do something to pull my why in life together. And I needed an umbrella, and Purium provided that. The reason for me, the why is the integrity of the business, the upline motivation, the support, all of the information that's available to us. So in 10 days, I was trying to assimilate as much as I could and find the time to do it. Allocating time and managing time is so important in this business. that had to do with the grinding it out. So we've got the find, you got to find yourself, you got to find something in the company that you can latch onto, find some videos that you can use to share with other people. And then the grind of it is, who are my customers? I wanted to fast start. I was ready to roll. I wanted to see if I could hit that just for the fun of it. And so my upline helped me. And I got a bunch of people together. I started calling them. You know, maybe you've done that, Mercedes. Just, you know, you get on the phone, you start calling, you start getting excited. And when I did start to call people, the number one thing I learned was they were most happy that my stomach was responding to this food medicine. They were thrilled. And so I caught their attention with that. So I had the business and the medicine starting to evolve. People were asking about the business end of it. So the next thing I did was, in the 3 calls, I would call them, I would chat, I would introduce, I would say things, listening to what they were up to. And when they asked me, hi Lisa, when they asked me what I was doing, and I shared my experience with this product, everything sort of stopped in the conversation. And they wanted to know everything about it. I wasn't prepared to talk about it. Like I said, I could barely say glyphosate. I was just still learning. So I found this to be my cheat sheet while we were on the phone. And I would just read across. I said, you guys, I can't really explain this to you so well. So I would literally read this to them in as casual format as I could as I would learn it. I also had my book where I would take notes on their responses. So for every person that I have, I would have their name at the top of my book, and I would start writing down a synopsis of the conversation. And that gave me something to look back at for my second call. What were they saying? And I just want you to know that the notes are really messy, okay? There's no format. My super social tracker sheet that they gave me, my first one looks like this. It was just a scratch sheet. That's how fast it was moving. This week's, I have been calling maybe 30 to 50 people every couple of days. You know, you would think it was Christmas when I called them. They're like, hey, I haven't heard from you for a while. So it was a lot of fun. Okay, so in these 3 calls, I would follow up with a text. I would call the first time, I would share with them, it would be a chat, an introduction. And at the end, if they seemed the least bit interested, I would ask them, would you mind if I sent you a video? Are you interested in looking at this product? They said, oh, sure, Steph, go ahead. I said, cool, it's gonna be off to you. And I did it immediately. The videos that I sent on this first call, or after this first call, if you wanna look them up, I used Purium/marketing tools/video with Dave's Core 4 V.3. The reason I used that one is because I had researched him and I felt comfortable with him, even though I couldn't tell you what he said. I trusted him. So I felt comfortable sending that video in the way that he communicated. And in the comments, I just wrote, here's that video I was telling you about. Check it out and let me know how you feel. And they did. They would either text me back, or on the call, the next call follow-up, which would be in a day or 2, they would tell me their opinion of it, and they felt very comfortable and they had questions. At this time, I would take that opportunity to what I call bind up the deal. Because I've already found the product, I found me, I ground it out with this person, you know, first conversation. Sometimes it takes 2. And then I would say, you know, I can't answer that question, but I have an upline. It's really great. They've got me on, you know, message with their phone. So why don't we just contact them and just do a quick conference? You can ask all of those questions. Are you comfortable with that? And they said, sure, Steph, are you going to be on? I said, yeah, but do you mind if I mute just so that I can listen and learn? Oh, sure. Well, would you care if Marianne joined me too, my upline, because she's new? Not a problem. I said, great. So I would set that up. But before I left that phone call, I also asked them, are you interested in Core 4? Is that something that you think is going to address the problem that they shared with me, or the opportunity that they shared with me? And they said, yeah, I want to try it. So that's what happened with my 3. I overcame the objections. The language that I would use, I'll share one with you, on price. That's what I mostly got. It's $179, even with your $50 gift certificate. And I said, well, you know, that really, if you look at it over 30 days, that's not bad. There's 4 products. It's less than $1.50 a product a day. So less than $6 a day. and plus you don't have to have that meal. And I have already found, because I did Core 4 in June before I bought the transformational package, that is an excellent price, and they agreed. So by breaking the individual unit cost down, just take the 179, divide it out, look at the days, and it breaks it down to something that they can digest, which is fairly relevant for the product. So, they were all in. I try very hard to have them all in before I get Lisa Holtz, my up person, on the line, so that she has an opportunity to answer questions and expand the buy. If I think a person would step up to the ultimate lifestyle transformation, which I'm doing now, I give Lisa a heads up in text. I also stay on text with her while she's talking. And I know my friends well enough that I can kind of cue her for different things that might happen. And she's been really good about receiving that. And I don't know yet if that helped her or not, but she did a magnificent job of helping me. So let's see. The other wonderful video that I send is David's interview with Josh on Wellness Force. Have you guys seen that? I don't know if you've seen that, but that's a wonderful interview with David Sandoval that people really like. So you can look at it and see if you're comfortable with it. It's Video Podcast 351 on YouTube, and that's Josh Trensline. Just know this one thing though, Josh is in the business too, so he closes out for his business, contact me and so forth. So give them a heads up that, this is a great interview. You want them to see David, but, go ahead and use the gift certificate that I sent to you. I decided to send gift certificates with the video. I'm not advising this because I didn't clear it through Lisa or Mary Beth, but all three of them reacted that they wanted to order. So it was a wonderful opportunity for me, if I felt settled enough that I was going to be able to get them on with us and that they were interested in sharing the product, to share that gift certificate. And it worked on all three of the groups. Let's see, I guess that's everything that I could pull together that I thought maybe I could share that would help everyone.
That's amazing. I just want to thank you for one, as being like an elder for our container, and two things I want to highlight that you said. Like I'm just so excited because you guys, she's like so resourceful. Do you see how resourceful she's being in her own business? She's been in the business about 2 weeks at this point, and she's figuring out how to learn and do at the same time. And part of that is exactly what she started with, is finding out your own why, finding out what her motivation, what her drive is. And then she's willing to figure out and put the pieces together to make it happen. So I love how connected you are with your upline, but I also love how you're the fuel to your own business. Like, you're not waiting for your upline to get back to you to respond about how to do this or how to do this. You're like, I'm going to get on a connect call with someone. I got to figure out how to explain this. I'm going to take this resource in front of me and do it. And I'm going to learn at the same time. And so I can duplicate that for the next call. So that's something I want to highlight with you. That's just really amazing. It's just setting up a system for yourself that is working and really learning by doing. Something else I really wanted to highlight. Yeah, go ahead, Stephanie.
Mary Beth, just real quick, there's one other thing. You guys send a lot of stuff from Purium into my email box. And I was so grateful for that, but I would be swimming in it if I didn't do the following. So I wanted to share with them that I would recommend setting up files. I have right now 12 individual files under Purium in my Gmail box. So by setting up those files in the divisions, I have an administrative account. I have an account a file for each of my brand partners. I have a food and recipes file because people are asking about that. I have a couple of gift certificates out without orders, so I have files on those folks as well, even though they're not brand partners. And I also have orders, success stories, ultimate lifestyle trends, and the virtual summit, which I'm planning for. Thank you, Mary Beth.
Beautiful. So organization, yay. Because that can be one of the things that stifles us in this business, is there is a lot of information, there is a lot of resources. And so creating your own system that allows you to stay organized, allows you to keep track of these videos your upline has sent you that you've seen, again, being super resourceful. So amazing, Stephanie. And I wonder if you could just, so you said you get on a call with them,
Mm-hmm.
You send them a follow-up text and then ask them consent to send a video. And another thing that I really love that she said is she tries to prepare them to be as informed as she can before getting them on a call with her upline, so that that call can be as most efficient as possible and they can really get their nitty-gritty questions answered. So is that basically how you said it? You just said, hey, would you like to get on a call with my, did you use the word upline, or do you?
Well, what I say is, you guys are all younger than me. So, my friends are my age, right? A lot of them. So I say there's an amazing group of people across this country that are kids' age, and they are inclusive. They're growing this business. They want us in it. Are you game to do this? I mean, you want to give it a shot. And they get all excited. I mean, we've all been locked up for 3 months. We can't see our grandchildren. We can't see you guys, so it's like, oh, that'd be great. So this is a general dialogue, but you've got to do something appropriate with your friends. The greatest thing, the 3 people that signed on, Mary Beth, were people that know my journey. That is so important. You can call a lot of people, but the people who really know your journey, whether it's health or business or divorce or great happiness, those opportunities are there in your most intimate. And you might think initially that would be your hardest connect. Sometimes it's your easiest because you're happy and they want to share in that with you. So I would say that the language is personal, Mary Beth, but it's also being sure to qualify, being sure where they are, being sure to listen, and afterwards, just let them give you the opportunity through your silence, which is a great gift that my upline has, Lisa Holtz. Give them an opportunity to say what they need. And when that happens, you can address the questions that you weren't able to answer. I'm sure you guys, maybe, I hope I'm not alone in that. Are you, raise your hand if you don't feel that you can answer all the questions on these calls. I sure feel that way. So it's a wonderful time to say, I have this great upline of women that we can talk with that are really amazing. And I can't, Mary Beth, what is your title? I mean, what is your education that you know so much about gut health and so forth? What is it exactly?
Yeah, so myself particularly, I'm a regenerative detox specialist, but that really doesn't matter. Again, we have this beautiful thing of leverage in this business where one of your uplines might be a health specialist, one of them might be brand new to network marketing, one of them might be a seasoned network marketer. We have a whole different array of people
That's
that
true.
we can rely on to support us in our information. So again, I could go on forever with you, Steph. I think you're amazing. I think that you're speaking like you've been in this business forever. And I want to highlight the one thing you said, is find out what the people need. That is the key to the conversations. Ask questions so you can find out what people need, what they want, what they're desiring. And then it opens that portal for connection. So thank you so much, Steph.
Thank you.
We have one more share and then we'll jump into action. Libby, I think you're on here. She hit Fast Start Consultant and just really hit the ground running, like so much excitement, so much enthusiasm, so much dedication and determination. She caught the vision pretty quickly. So I'm just going to ask Libby, I'm trying to find you on here if you're on here, to come on and just maybe share a few phrases or some things that really got you excited to hit your goal, hit Fast Start Consultant.
Okay, well, I took some notes so I can be brief and share what I'm doing that is working. So, like we've already heard in so many calls, cling tightly to your why, but know that it's going to evolve. Like with every call, I feel like it evolves a little bit. So just keep revisiting it and cling tightly to your why. It's very important for getting people interested. And then dive in, use the personal development tools, watch the videos, download the Purium app to find shorts about each product. I'm keeping track of these videos actually in a Google Doc. So I'm taking the video link and a little blip about what the video is about, and I'm organizing them on the pillars. So community, business, and the health benefits, so that you can, easily find a video that works for the person you're talking to. Find the right links for the right people. Be organized, take notes, use a binder for your action plan and trackers, use a planner or a calendar app, use the tools. Like the tracker is like my best friend. It's the way that I might feel stuck and I can look at the tracker. Oh, look I have 2 people I can follow up with, and boom, I've got some action. Say less to more people. Let the tools do the talking. Get to know all the videos so you know who to send which ones to, and be comfortable in the pause. Like, don't be pushy. Just ask the questions, and they're going to keep coming back with more interest or questions. And it's really important to listen. Very simple. Listen. Optimize your Facebook with that video. I can post the link in the comments here, but like, it was a quick 5-minute social marketing media tips, and I optimized my Facebook and I share my excitement daily using the formula in that video. And then most of all, lean into your upline and be coachable. Get prospects and potential partners to connect calls once they're informed and excited. Be resourceful. So try to find answers on your own. You never know what you're going to find when you do that, and then ask for help. I had an issue with my dad's credit card going through, and instead of like trying to ask other people who are very busy, I just figured it out on my own, which I think helps everyone, and it makes you feel like, oh, okay, I can do this. And these blocks get out of your way pretty quickly if you just there's a lot out there. So you got to kind of look into it and see what you can find on your own, and you're going to get better at using the tools. So that's about it.
Right on, Libby. Something I want to highlight with both of these ladies, as you can see, they've both only been in the business like 2 weeks, and they've come in treating their business like a business, right? They've come in and they're both have these systems of organization that work for them. And I really want to congratulate you, Libby. I've seen like you've had so much motivation and excitement, and you're really using that as your fuel. And it's been amazing to see you be so consistent with that. I know not every day we're super excited all the time, but you continue to just bring forth what you're excited about, even if that changes. So really beautiful, you guys. And I hope that you're inspired as much as I am by these guys. I'm like listening to the talk and I'm like, whoa, I got to step up my game. All right, let's do this. So it's really cool that we can, be inspired no matter how long you've been in this business. Today can be your day one. If you haven't had the best organization in the past, today can be a day where you start to create a file for yourself. Or, if a goal of yours is to be more resourceful, that can start today. We all come into this at different levels and different people, but there is one fluid thing that exists within all of us. And I think both of them spoke to this, is we can all learn to listen more, connect into our why, listen more to people, and just really use that fuel to stay organized, be resourceful, treat your business like a business. So thank you, ladies, so much for offering your knowledge and what you've learned so far. And that being said, let's get into action. And I'm going to be on the call to answer questions. If you're starting to reach out to people and you're wanting some help with responses, or if you even want to type in the comments something that you're writing up to someone, or if you have like, hey, what's your best video for this? Let's use this as a platform to be resourceful together and really just kind of get into action. Libby, someone asked in the comments which video you were talking about that you sent. So maybe you could throw that in the comments. And I just appreciate you all, and I appreciate our speakers today. And I'm here if you need it. Just pop off mute.
Mary Beth, I have a question. When you started, how many hours were you a young mom then? And how many hours did you put in? Because I know some of my friends are working and they have families. And when I was doing that in business, I broke things down into 25-minute chiclets, if you can believe it, and if I could get it done in 25 minutes, great. Vacuuming, everything fell into that. So how did you do it?
Yeah. So when I started, just a little background on me, I was a single mom at the time, and I was working like 3 to 4 other jobs I just had a lot of expenses at the time. And the only time I had to put into my Perium business was from 9 to 12 p.m. at night. And that is not ideal for calling people or reaching out to people, right? Like this middle of the hour, who wants to do that? So, but I made it work. I just stayed really committed and consistent. And I said, okay, I have 3 hours a day. I'm going to try to do as much as I can. And I heard about this concept of power hour. And that's what we're doing here, is like in 1 hour or 90 minutes or a half hour, whatever time slot you have, how many people can you start a conversation with? And that's how I built my business. I just would get into massive action for those 3 hours at a time during the week. And, I'd follow up with people the next day because of the timing. But I would literally just say, you know what, I got 1 hour here. How many people can I reach out to? And it doesn't necessarily have to be, hey, I'm started this business and Purium focus. Sometimes it was just like someone that popped into my mind, and I was like, I'm just going to reach out to them and see how they are, see what they're up to. Hey, how are you? That could be one reach out. But it's really filling your funnel, because like we've been told, the work we do now will show up 90 days down the road. So if you can plant as many seeds as possible right now, your business in 3 months will definitely grow, and you will see it. And some people get deterred by oh, I don't have enough time, or I'm not seeing all the results come to fruition right now. But it's really kind of that long-term game of like, figure out what amount of time you have to spend and be as efficient as you can. And when you're first starting your business, it basically means talking to people. That's it. Like, you're going to learn all the stuff. You're going to learn all the information. You're going to do all that as you go. So what it starts with is just, how many people can you talk to? And how many people can you listen to? How many people can you figure out what they're looking for, what they're needing in life? How many people can you ask questions to? And just having some way to stay organized as that happens. So does that help, Stephanie?
Yeah.
Yes, Christina, say less to more people.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm new, and I just started the cleanse 5 days ago. And I find that I'm so excited about it that I want to tell people, but I don't have a lot of the correct verbiage, or And I think it was great what Stephanie said about just using that sheet and just reading off the sheet. That's what I'm going to have to start doing. And I'm a massage therapist and yoga instructor, and so I have a lot of wellness clients. And every day I think of someone new so I write a new person down on my list. But then I'm not, like, of course you're going to say, none of us were. I'm not a salesy type of person, right? I'm the healer, the creative, I work behind the scenes. I let everybody else run the rest of the front of the line stuff. But I am a manager. So I'm an entrepreneur, and that was my other life, managing people and owning 3 businesses. So it's interesting for me to try to switch this all over to be an at-home business. And I want to ask you what your suggestions are to kind of like, get me on this, like, kind of a track to switch what I'm used to doing day to day business wise, and then the healer part of me that just wants to help people. I'm trying to like blend it together. It's been tricky.
Yeah. So again, we say this a lot in this business. We're not selling, we're just sharing. All you can do is share from where you're at. If you don't know all that, don't try to go figure it out and like spiel it out. Like you can, but it's probably not going to sound as authentic as it could. So you just want to say, like, I'm doing this 30-day. This is why I'm doing it. This is what I'm hoping to get out of it. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what I'm feeling. You can only speak from your own story. And to be honest, they have this phrase where facts tell, but stories sell. Like, you can blabble off as many facts as you want about products all day long. And there's a small percentage of people who are actually going to like I'm one of those nerds that likes that, but not everyone's like that. A lot of people want to know, how did this change your life? How are you feeling 10 days ago from now? And so all you can do is share your story as you're talking to people, like, hey, I found this thing. I decided to do it because I really want to up level my nutrition. And it happens to be that this company is all organic and non-GMO and has a great movement. And I'm just so excited about it because I'm feeling so good, right? Like, this could be a post that you're going to do on social media. And the idea is to create curiosity. So you don't want to tell people the whole story in one shebang. You just want to say 1 or 2 things that's going to be like, oh, wow, I can resonate with that. Or, oh, I wonder what she's doing. That sounds interesting. right? The whole idea is just to share, create curiosity, and then move the conversation to either, you know, maybe a text, but more so just a phone call, you know, just hop on with people if they're showing interest, and just talk to them, tell them what's happening for you, and be honest. You can say, I just started, I don't have all the answers. Like Stephanie said, it's a great way to get them on a call with your upline. You can say, you know what, I'm still learning myself, and it would actually really help me if we could hop on a call with the person mentoring me through this, and we could totally get those details answered, and I would love to learn as well. You know, so just be honest with where you're at, and that story is going to evolve, right? The longer you're in the business, the more solid you're going to have a lot of stories to pick from. And you can also share other people's stories. That's something that's part of why we do these calls and bring on guests, is to hear the experience of others. So maybe you haven't had a breakthrough or yada, yada. But for instance, my story was coming out of postpartum. I've been in the nutrition industry 15 years. I thought I was good until I got on Purium, and I realized how depleted I was. Like, I couldn't even believe it, being this, you know, person in nutrition. And I was just like, wow, if these products hadn't have found me, like, yikes, like, they saved my postpartum journey, right? And so if that story speaks to you, you can tell someone that story and say, you know, this was an experience my mentor had, or blah, blah, blah. So that's part of what we do too, is just sharing our own stories, sharing other people's stories, and kind of documenting it as your process evolves, so that you can continue to evolve your story along the way. Does that make sense? Great job. Welcome to the community, by the way. Glad to have you here.
Can I hop on for a second and ask a question that I know that came up with my team? Was having a friend want to do it with their spouse, and then ending up getting this particular person got on a connect call, got the nutrition information, was super excited, and then wanted to do it with their spouse, went to their spouse, shared however they shared with their spouse, and then ended up in a huge fight with their spouse, and now is like in a stall pattern. I guess my question would be, you know, how to handle that. It's kind of an objection to some degree, and also a sharing without knowing how to share. Or do we want to get both of them on a connect call?
I mean, you know, we can only do what we can, you guys. And again, it comes back to that personal why. So I would go back to step one, asking your friend who wants to do the transformation the questions of like, why do you want to do this? And if would you want to do it if your husband's on board or not? Can you have a conversation with your husband about how this is something you would really love his support with, whether or not he agrees or disagrees, but this is something you need to do to nurture yourself. So again, it's just going back to asking people questions and why they're doing this. And if they can communicate that with their partner, I mean, their partner has to have their own why. You know, the last thing we want to do is try to force people to get on board something they're not connected to, right? We're really just sharing information and trying to find the people who really want this and who are calling this in. And those are the people we're speaking to. So that would be my advice. Just go back to step one, ask her some questions, try to help get her back in her center, figure out what she's needing, and see where it goes.
It would help me, you guys, if you would share some of your challenges. Since I'm only really a couple weeks old, I sometimes have trouble juggling my schedule, and I was wondering how you're managing that. If you could help me with that a little bit, it would be really great.
If anyone else wants to pop off and speak to that, great to hear your voice.
Yeah. Hi, Stephanie. I'm Camille. I can speak to that a little bit. I love your share, by the way. It's really inspiring. So thank you for stepping up in that place of leadership. but I have a 2-year-old. I also have a 20-year-old and an 18-year-old, and getting back into motherhood has been fun and challenging. And I could really relate to what you were saying about piecing, your time together as like chiclets. And one thing that I have learned, both from my mentor, Mary, and a couple of my other uplines, is when you're feeling excited and when you're feeling empowered and just like you really want to share, like that's the cue. Like that's when you really want to get into action. I found that when I was just, sitting down and like, oh, I got to do this. I got to reach out to, to people for 90 minutes, and really maximize my time while my little boy's sleeping. There wasn't a lot of fruit from that. And I definitely do have to piece my time slots together. Like what you were saying, when you have little ones, you're kind of pulled in different directions a lot of the time. But I remember Dave Sandoval did an Instagram TV podcast. I guess he does a show like every day at 3:33 Pacific time. And it was before I started the business, and it was kind of like that day of like epiphany, like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm super excited. And, Mary was trying to help me on board and whatnot. And he was talking about procrastination, and that was a big one for me. But he had a suggestion of like tuning in to when you are the most productive in your day. For some people, it might be early in the morning. Other people, it might be in the afternoon. Others, it might be at night. And that's when, you get into, deep action or, do a power hour, is when you know that you're going to be the most productive, not when you're tired, not when you, are dreading it, getting on the phone or getting on the computer, but to just pay attention to your own cycle of energy and, when you're the most motivated, and start to just, tap into that excitement period that you have in the day. So that's what's really been helpful for me. And I've noticed that just staying with the system, sticking to the tracker sheet and posting on Sundays on the Bliss Ohana wall, our tracker sheet, posting our vision statement at the end of the month or beginning of the month, and just tapping into the system and staying in continual action, that you will receive fruit from that. Like what Mary was saying, like we're planting seeds, and it might take a while for those seeds to grow. But if you're in consistent action, and using the tracker sheet and just plugging into the system, you will see the fruit from that. And it's your own business. So, you get to choose your schedule, and you get to choose when you really want to work it. And just tapping into that and realizing that there's no perfect way, but just that whatever you are feeling motivated at the time, and to just be consistent with that has been the best tool for me. So I hope that helps.
Thank you.
I can hop on and share about that too. So I decided to schedule my time an hour before the calls that we do during the week, and then I have that for Friday as well. So I'm Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I get on an hour before these calls. I know there's not one on Friday. I just use that as a 2-hour block. And then on Tuesday, I schedule myself an hour before the Leslie Zan call. And I've made that space available, and I open it up as a Zoom meeting, and I have my brand partners hop on with me too. So we have little work sessions together. And it was something at the beginning of June, I think Robin Tala might have said on one of these calls, where he said, would you hire yourself and also actually make a contract for yourself, like hire yourself and make a contract and just decide what your hours are, and then make those hours be really line them out, get organized. So our team, if something comes up, we have a session on that, or we have a short training, or we just spend the time moving people from one part of the tracker sheet to the other and just talking to each other about conversations and how to have conversations. It's nice to have those accountability people, partners for myself, and have that time lined out. And then the rest of the day, I'm occasionally responding to messages. And so there's kind of this peripheral thing going on with my business, but I really treat it a lot more like conversations that I would be having with friends anyways. I'm just more purposeful in them. And so I found that's really helpful. And most of a couple of the women on my team are mamas. And so that's a nap time right around this time and before this time. And I've got one in Hawaii and one on the East Coast. And so it just seems like a good time to block off for my team. And I'm like you, I've kind of got a little more freedom in my days. My kids are grown. I'm kind of doing my own thing. So just having really checking in with my team and finding out what they needed in order to stay accountable to their 10 hours a week and what would make it easy. And then holding that space for them became my container. Even if nobody shows up, I show up at that time and I do my prospecting and stuff then and my messaging then. And so I've been doing that since the beginning of June, and now it's the middle of July, and I have, at least 2 or 3 people that show up every day and hop on that call before these calls with me. So I found scheduling it and writing a contract with myself, actually hiring myself and committing to, I did a 3-year contract with myself to show up for this business every day and not quit. My teammates, some of them have done a year contract, but that's what I'm also asking them to do when I onboard them, is commit to a year without quitting the nutrients, without quitting the showing up for the business and plugging in, and just talking to people about health and wellness. So we'll see how that goes. It's so far so good. It's getting bigger. So yeah, I hope that helps.
All right, thank you guys. I appreciate all your shares, and I think it's valuable knowledge. And so again, I'm just going to say, let's start getting into action. So if you have your tracker sheet in front of you, if you're having some messages that you're, wanting some help with languaging or responses or what resource to send, feel free to pop them in the chat, and we can help with that. And otherwise, I think these have all been great conversations, and we can always further the discussion with other, with your uplines or with your small team pod or on our other training calls. But let's start talking to people. Let's get in action. Thank you all for your shares.
Mary Beth. So I have a question about prospecting up. And so I have a lot of, like to influencers or people who have a big following. We have an amazing person in our community. One of my brand partners does, and she's a huge influencer. She's part of the Black community. She also does juices and cleanses, but she makes them all herself. And so it's not really sustainable as far as getting to the masses, but she's already in the alkaline acidic conversation and understands that the gut health is the mind health, and has a huge following. And so some of these, approaching some people that are in health and wellness, it seems a little intimidating to prospect up. And so, and then also wanting to be mindful of, you know, not approaching friends that are members of the Black community just because we think that that's gonna, you know, just doing it that for the right reasons, I guess. And that goes back to, in general, of maybe pre-qualifying people or being like, oh my God, they would totally be good at this, or they need this, or I really want this person on my team, and just how to have that conversation authentically when the self-esteem or the feeling of not having the clout to approach that person, or just not even knowing how to open the door to that side of it when that's never been part of the conversation. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I'll touch on two things. One is, if it's a friend of yours that you know that's an influencer, I would just start with the same thing, ask questions. You know, reach out, say, hey, I've been thinking about you. How's your superfood business going? What's, you know, how are things going? And just see where they're at. And if it's a good friend of yours and they're, you know, they start to show you that it's great, but there's some challenges maybe, and she's having to do it all herself, or blah, 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 distribution, this and thing, you know, you can always just say, I've been thinking about you because I recently paired with an organic superfood company, and I'd be curious to hear your feedback on it because I know you're really qualified. You know, just honoring people in their qualifications and where they're at, and also just speaking true to where you're at. So again, it just goes to authentically connecting with that person. When it comes to influencers, we have to remember that influencers probably get bombarded by a lot of stuff. So even if they're not people, if they're people we don't know, it goes back to the same thing of finding a point of connection that you can relate to them on. And generally, if I'm reaching out to an influencer, I really like to start by edifying them. You know, taking the time to go to their page and look at what they're doing, and, you know, finding influencers that I'm actually like, wow, these guys are doing great work. I really appreciate what they're bringing forth to the world. And just sending them a message and saying, hey, I stumbled across your page. You really look like you're doing great work out in the world. Thank you. I appreciate this and that. You know, that's where I start my conversations with influencers personally, because they hear so much. And again, this business is all about just creating genuine relationship and connection. So I think it has to feel like there's no expectation there. And again, that's the reason we reach out to so many people, is you may have in mind like, oh, this would be the awesomest influencer ever to get on. But they may not want it. So you got to just let that go. And you got to just come from a place of like really appreciating the person, really appreciating how you're seeing people show up in the world, because that will come back to you. You know, you'll start to see people appreciating how you're showing up, and vice versa. So whenever I'm writing a message or crafting a message to someone, no matter if it's my friend or an influencer or someone that's high up in the nutrition world, I just think about, if someone was writing a message to me, what would feel good? Like, I read my message back and say, if I was receiving that in my inbox, would it be something I would respond to? Would it be something that I resonate with? Because so much of this business is attracting and, you know, bringing those people in that you really resonate with. And part of it is a weeding out process of, you think you might really want to work with this person, but it turns out it's a blessing that it didn't happen. So it's really just like showing up as how you want to show up in the world and resonating that out. And every message I send, I do that. I come into a space of, okay, if this was coming in my inbox, would I be down to have a conversation with this person based on what they sent me? So hopefully that's helpful.
And last week I sent out messages to about 50 of my yogi friends that I used to work with in Samadhi in Denver, had many locations, and that closed down. And now, you know, all of my friends are like, yeah, I'm kind of doing stuff online, just looking for the next thing, trying to stay connected to the earth. And I know that that's an opening. And so I guess, do I just move right to, you know, and then what are you up to? And so it feels a little clumsy making that transition, and maybe it's just because I don't have the it's not belief, but it just the self-esteem maybe, and I don't know, I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just because they're my colleagues and not my students. I have no problem talking to my clients about nutrition, and yeah, it feels a little clumsy to make the transition. So all these people wrote me back, and I have about 30 messages in my inbox that I now need to go the next step with, and it's all kind of the same thing, and I'm just wondering about that transition.
Yeah, so something I actually learned from Christina, which has really helped me, is if someone expresses, you know, I'm trying the online thing and my yoga teaching, you know, if you're in there, if you know, if you're like you're in the yoga scene, you're in the nutrition scene, you can blatantly just say, you know, I feel you. And it's funny how many people I've been talking to that are saying that they're in the same situation. And I've actually found something, a solution for myself that is really helping me get through these times and helping me build an online business. Would you want to check it out? It's helped me. If not, is like, if you're not into it, no worries, but it's been helpful for me. And that's all we can do, is just share information with people of, you know, this has been a solution for me. Would you want to check it out? If not, no worries, but it's been helpful in my life. And I would, if it will be helpful to you, I'm happy to share. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. So it's, because we are trying to figure something out online now. And so it's just like, this is what's helped me in my, with building my online business. So it's actually really a beautiful segue. Yeah,
super.
I never, it's so simple. So simple. Yeah. Thanks.